Hey guys, and welcome to today's podcast. I'm your host, Jen Bjarnson. I'm going to continue with our analogy of the GPS. How do you So before you listen to this one, if this podcast at all seems confusing, then I would recommend to go back and listen to the last podcast, because what we're going to be talking about is the second part of how do you create a life? What does it look like? How do you even know if you're creating a life that you're going to like? And if you find yourself stuck and overwhelmed, like, where do you even start? So this is the second one. And in the first one, very quickly, we talked about number one, picking your destination. Now we're going to go on to the second part of any GPS roadmap. Anytime you get in the car, yes, you put in your destination, but the second thing that you do is then you put, okay, where are you at, right? Where are we at right now? Where's our starting point? Where's our starting location? Where are we at right now? And what this translates into in your everyday life is, what are your labels? Who are you? Because if we don't know where we're starting from, it's really hard to know where we're going. Yeah, you may want to go to the beach, but the reality is, if you don't really know if you're north, south, east, west, like, where are we going? Are we turning right? Are we turning left? Which way are we going? And so it's really important to understand where your starting point is. Now, I love a good label. There was many, many times in my life, a good portion of my life actually, that I had no idea who I was. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know, am I an introvert? Am I an extrovert? Like, I didn't know. Do I like hanging around people? Do people wear me out? Am I an outgoing person? Like, am I crazy? Am I more soft spoken? I didn't know. I didn't have a clue. Okay. And so it was extremely helpful to put labels on me. It was really, really helpful when I looked at human design and Enneagram and Carol Tuttle's energy types and my love language and all the silly little words of extrovert, introvert, and all the little colors that people can put on themselves as to, I am this. That even includes all of the diagnoses I got, right? Like, oh, and I have this and I have this, okay? The reality is those were super helpful. The problem where those become unhelpful is when you use those as like a cage. Instead of using them as a starting point, you use them as a cage in your life. Now, using them as a starting point is saying, okay, am I an extrovert? Am I an introvert? Do people energize me, or do people take my energy? That is a good thing to know about yourself. And there's no right or wrong. That's another thing. There's no right or wrong in any of these. A lot of times we put ourselves of like what it should look like based on somebody else's opinion. For instance, your family was a very loud, outgoing, and so all you heard was, be more outgoing, be more sociable, you look weird, you whatever. And that's just not who you are. It's uncomfortable, it doesn't come natural to you, and it's a lot. It's a lot to try and maintain when that's just not naturally who you are. So it's really important and really helpful to really, step one, figure out who you are. I don't care if this takes like taking tests or it takes you a minute to just really figure that out. That's okay. Take the time, figure out whether your human design, your energy type, your Enneagram, I don't care if it's your horoscope. I don't care what you use. If it is helpful for you to recognize who you are and how you naturally move in the world. I naturally do these certain things, and that's always how I'm going to go back to kind of like a homeostasis in my life, right? If you are constantly pushing yourself out of that comfort, it can be good, but if you continue to do that, at some point you're going to burn out. You're not meant to be in the gym 24/7, just absolutely crushing a hard workout. You can't maintain that. And who you are coded as an individual, the labels that you feel that you are, that's your baseline. And so if you know that, now you know how to get to a level of calm to stop the chaos. But if you don't know that, you're going to be trying on everybody else's personalities. You're going to be trying on everybody else's label. You're going to, well, what's the right way? My family is very introverted and I'm really extroverted, and they're always telling me I'm too loud. And so I try to be quiet and I try to minimize myself and I try to do all these things. It's exhausting. Trying to be a certain way that's not really you just because other people have put that on you, it's exhausting and it's not sustainable. It's just not. That's why you have to find your starting point, your labels. Where are you? Who are you? What do you like to do? Do you like being with people? Do you not like being with people? Is it energizing to be with people? Is it draining to be with people? Are you just kind of a naturally energetic person? Are you more of a reserved person? Are you more strong-willed? Are you more of an easygoing type person? Are you more of a higher energy, a more lower energy? Again, there's no wrong answer to this. There just isn't. There's no wrong answer. I don't care if you are the most extroverted, high energy, strong-willed, like I want it my way. Okay, that's how you're coded. That's how you are. Great. That's the starting point. I don't care if you're the quietest, meekest, tiniest, little, I just don't want to be seen type person. Great. That's who you are. That's our starting point. There's no right, there's no wrong. Everybody is needed in this world. We need the outgoing, the people that are labeled too much, the people that are just, why don't you calm down? We need those people because we need those people to get things done. They're the only ones that are going to get it done. We need those people to try new things, to when somebody says it can't be done, for them to be like, challenge accepted, right? That's the people we need. But we also need the calmer, more sensitive type, the people who are going to ask how other people are doing, the people who are going to care that that somebody doesn't feel uncomfortable. We need those type of people. In the wide variety of all the different types, we need them all. They're all needed. They're all a gift to this world. Maybe it does not matter what labels you want to put on yourselves. All of them are needed and they're all helpful and they're all a starting point. Now, this brings me to the challenge of this is a lot of people, instead of making it a starting point, they use it as a cage. And they now say, I can't do XYZ because I'm this. I can't be around people because I am an introvert. No, that's not how it works. How it works is you are an introvert and you don't like being around people. It is uncomfortable. That's your starting point. It's not the most comfortable thing. You're more comfortable being at home by yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? You like an in-depth conversation. You don't like a whole group of people. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not the problem. What we have to do is we have to take that starting point and very slowly start to grow what you can manage and what is comfortable and what you can handle. So it's okay that you don't naturally go towards a large group of people. That's not a problem. What is a problem is when you avoid large groups of people because you can't handle it. Now, I'm not saying to just jump to a large group of people, cause yourself a panic attack, and then now you're like stuck in your house for a week because you just overwhelmed yourself to the point of like having a mental breakdown. That's not helpful either. Think of it as like a workout, okay? Most people think of it as like a workout, okay? You got to take your baseline. If you're a person who has been really unhealthy, maybe a sickness or like a disease or something wiped you out, okay? Like really, really bad, wiped you out. You are not going to automatically just go to the gym and now you're like in top peak physical condition after one workout. You're not going to just have this massive life-changing thing and it wipe you out and you're weak and you don't have the muscle capacity, right? And then I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to be in the gym for like 18 hours and be able to handle that workout. That's unrealistic. Nobody would ask you to do that. And if they did, they're crazy. They're a crazy person. Anybody who starts, you find your baseline. Okay, you can't do a push-up, right? That's your baseline. 0 push-ups. And then what do? You build up and you build up and you build up to 1 push-up. That's all you do. You build up to 1 push-up. Then from 1 push-up, all right, now your baseline is 1 push-up. Great. Now what do? Now we're gonna bump it up. Can we do 3? Okay, and you do certain exercises and other different things to strengthen those muscles. Now we're at 3, right? We started at 0. Now we're at 3. And then at some point, you're going to bump it up to another and bump it up even more to a point where you're that person who's doing a ton of push-ups. It's the exact same in our labels and growing ourselves as a person, right? You don't just throw yourself into something that's going to cause you a massive panic attack. That's not helpful. That's overdoing it, like in the gym, okay? And now you've hurt yourself instead of helped yourself, okay? So what you need to do is you need to find a way to increase it very slowly and small little increments. So maybe you don't go to this massive thing that's going to cause you like to have a massive panic attack. You do little things at a time. You're there for 5 minutes. I did it. Okay. Great. Come back home. Be by yourself. And you're going to increase it just slowly, like you would in the gym. It's the exact same thing. And then at some point, you are going to be that person. You're going to be that person that when people say, oh, are you an extrovert? Oh, I know you're an extrovert. And you're going to say, no, I'm actually not. I'm an introvert. No, you're really good with people. It's because you've trained yourself, because you've grown that muscle to handle being around people when you didn't have that muscle before. That's all it is. It's a muscle. It's a skill. It's no different than the gym. But the majority of people, they use it as a cage. The majority of people, they don't try to build the muscle. It's too uncomfortable. I don't like it. Well, yeah, building any kind of muscle, I don't care if it's an emotional muscle or a physical muscle or your financial muscle, anytime you build anything, it is a workout and it's hard. And I don't think we give ourselves credit enough to say how hard it is. I really don't. I can't tell you how many times I've been like, okay, I know I'm not great at this thing, so I'm going to let it grow this muscle. And then I get mad at myself because I'm like, why was that so hard? Why did that wipe me out? Why am I so tired? I didn't do anything today. Oh, all I did was this one little thing and it made me tired. And I like berate myself over the fact that like something I tried and I'm growing at it wore me out. It's because mentally it's exhausting. It really is. It's just as tiring as going to the gym. If you're not used to it, it's really a workout. It is hard. And so I don't want you to berate yourself or belittle yourself at the fact that something is actually turning out to be really hard. Other people don't deem as hard. You're going to see other people and they go out and they have a great time and they feel so energized. But that could really wear you out. That's okay. Because you know what's interesting? Interestingly enough, is they'll try to stay home by themselves. That wears them out. Them trying to calm down and just sit and think about things of like, hey, I want you to really contemplate something. That's a workout for them. For you, that's like a day in the park. Flop it around. If you're a really high energy person, try doing something without a ton of people. Try and do something calming. It's hard. It's hard if you've never done it before. And that's the push. That's the hard thing. And to you, you're gonna be like, oh, I'd rather do this with people. Right. Because that's easy for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not the problem. It's not the problem that comes easy to you because that's your gift and that's great. The problem is when we keep ourselves in the little cage and we don't grow. And there's a ton of different places we could do this. We can do it with money, right? Where you're like, oh, everybody in my family's in debt and that's just how we are. No, that's a cage. That's a belief system. That's the cage that's what you're labeling yourself bad with money. We do it with personality. We do it with our love languages. Oh, I should feel this. I should feel that. This is what my relationship should look like. And it's like, no, those are just labels. We do it with the diagnoses. I have this. It's like my migraines, my ADHD, my anxiety. We now attach ourselves to this thing that's now my thing. It's like, stop attaching yourself to it. Do you get it? Yes. At some point, I got migraines, okay? But they're not my migraines. No, I got a migraine. And it's like we label ourselves with these medical things. We label ourselves with personalities and astrology and numerology and human design and Enneagram and the letters and the numbers and the funny little names and the colors and the animals. Like we label ourselves with all these things. That's great. I love a good label. I love it because for so long I had no clue, no idea who I was. I had no clue. And anytime I take the test, it was always wrong. I'm like, that does not feel right. So for me personally, I really love Carol Tuttle's energy type. I think that one's just the easiest, the cleanest. I think you can just grasp onto it. I think she does an amazing job. Amazing. So I would highly recommend that one if you're looking for a personality. Love languages, super helpful. They're great in a relationship. And any other label you want to throw on yourself. If you want to throw a label on yourself and you're like, this is me, great. Just don't make it a cage. Don't make it. That's the stopping point. That's the starting point. Great. From there, you're all of these things. Great. Now what are we doing with it? How do we expand? How do we grow? How do we get better at that? Okay, you are this way. Now, how do we expand it into that is so much more broad and it's so many more opportunities. And now you can do so many more things because you're not being held back because of a label. Now, after you, even though you've grown, you can always go back to that label. I go back to being this specific thing with this specific thing. And there's plenty of times I'm like, man, was that just ADD or was that anxiety or what was that a good thing or was that just me playing into like what I think it is, right? It's never going to be perfect. That's okay. But as long as you grow, as long as you expand, I'm more of an introvert. I'm more of a calmer energy. But I also recognize that's not great in like giving responses. It's not great in a bigger group. It's not great as a podcast. It's not great on social media. Like a quieter presence is a quieter presence. And it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's a quieter presence. It just means that it doesn't always come off on camera in the best way that I want it to, right? So I started looking at, okay, who are some great people who they're a calmer presence, but they also show off who they really are. And it's not just this, and it's not this quiet thing, and it's not boring and monotone and we just never change, because that's boring. That's so boring. Nobody wants to listen to that. Okay, I recognize that. Even though I would love to do that, and I would just want to give you the information monotone, and I don't want to try to spice it up, and I don't want to try to do it anything entertaining. I know that as well as you know that. That's going to be boring. Nobody's going to want to listen to that. And it's not a rip on me. That's not what it is. It's not a rip on me. It's not a rip on my personality. It's just my personality and who I am as an individual. If I were to just play into all those labels, it doesn't come across as the best, most interesting thing on camera or on social media. I'm aware of that. That brought me to, okay, I still get to be who I am. I am not apologetic of who I am, but I do need to spice it up so that the information I want to give you guys is way more interesting. I've been to places and speaking events where oh my gosh, it was painful to listen to the person. It was painful. And I'm sure that they were doing the best they could. I'm sure that they were just a lower energy, a very easygoing, but they were so hard to listen to. I could not get the information because I was like, this is painful to watch. At the same time, I have the same energy type. I have the same labels as that person did. So it was what I had to do is I had to start looking at, okay, if I want a different result, I don't want people sitting there going, this is painful to listen to her. I don't want to listen to her. And so if I want people to listen to me, I don't want that response. I need to change it up. I need to switch it up not because my personality is bad, but because it's not getting me what I want. It's not conveying the message that I want. And so for this short period of time of like 30 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever the podcast, whatever this social media post is, I can be outgoing and I can be a little higher energy because I've built that muscle. It doesn't drain me. It's fine. I can be out here and I can do this and it's fine. And then I go back to my everyday, and I'm not this way every day. I'm not this way as I'm making dinner. I'm making dinner as a very low energy person to the point where sometimes people go, are you okay? I'm like, I'm great. I'm just tired. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not wrong. As other people aren't wrong for being higher energy or lower energy or easygoing or more strong-willed or however you want to label it. That's not wrong. But in order to get what you want, we have to gain skills. And these skills are sometimes going to contradict who we are as a person. We're going to contradict who we are, who we've labeled ourselves to be. That doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means you have to switch things around. You have to figure it out of how you can do it. I don't need to be a fake person. This is who I am as a higher energy, portraying a more higher energy person. I don't feel like this is fake. I don't feel like it's false. It's just if you saw me in public, I probably would not be as animated. Why? Because I'm not talking to a screen. I'm not talking to a camera. I am talking to a human being. So I'd be a little more reserved. And that's okay. It's fine. It doesn't mean we're fake. It just means we're learning different skills and new languages and new ways to be to broaden our experiences. That's the whole goal. We're trying to gain more skills. We're trying to gain more experiences. And the best way to do that is figure out your starting point. Figure it out and then grow from there. And as we look at our destination, you may get something that you're like, okay, I really want that experience, but this specific label I put on, higher energy, lower energy, whatever, it could conflict, right? It could conflict with my energy type. It doesn't mean you can't go after it. It just means now you've got to grow in that area. And it's uncomfortable and it's hard. And I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is too uncomfortable. And I've given up for a short period of time. I wholeheartedly believe in giving up, but I only give up for like a day. But I can't, there's tons of times I'm like, I give up. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not going to improve. This is who I am. I'm just going to be this. And then next day, I'm like, okay, I've given up. I've given up for the day. Time to get back to work. And that's okay. That's okay. You can wallow. We all wallow. We all give up at times because it is a struggle. It is hard sometimes. It is hard to sometimes we're not starting at 0. Sometimes we're starting at -10. If your health is bad, you're not starting at 0. You're starting in the negatives. Because getting back to 0 is just being baseline healthy. You're not even like exceptionally healthy. You're just baseline healthy. And we're trying to get to baseline. If you're in debt, you're negative. We're just trying to get to baseline broke, right? If your relationships are really, really bad and you don't know what a good relationship looks like, you're in the negative. Because baseline is, all right, I can tolerate you. That's not even a happy marriage or a happy relationship. And that's what we're trying to do. So look at your life, look at the different areas. If you're in the negative, give yourself some grace, give yourself some time, give yourself some rest to get your starting point is low. It's not baseline. It's not 0. Your 0 is negative compared to what other people. And that's okay. I've been in all the negatives, all of them. It's okay. But give yourself some grace that you got to get back to 0. If you have anxiety, your baseline is not 0. Your baseline is negative. Because you got to get back to feeling normal in a normal situation. Does that make sense? So I trust this information was helpful. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And if you would like more information, go to basictobold.com. We have a ton of resources that can help you. And until next time.